that home before you can actually buy it and get an FHA loan. FHA is going to require, if you're leasing that house and then you're going to buy it, you have to be in that house for 6 months before you can close on the note.
And also be sure on situations like that that you keep a paper trail of everything, all the rents paid, okay? And make sure you have copy checks, cancel checks of the rents, okay? Because that'll be some requirement.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's easy for 6 months, but if you got somebody who's doing a lease purchase, been in there 2 years, and wants to buy the house, it's more difficult to come up with checks for 2 years back. So make sure and just always have your clients keep track of any paper that goes back and forth.
Do receipts count for that? Or do you gotta have the checks?
You know, I would say no receipts. I've run into a problem with receipts because once again, you can go out and buy a receipt, go down the street at Office Max, and fill them out and hand them in a day. So anything like that that seems like an easy fix probably is not going to work. Okay. So just make sure and keep track of it.
In the lease purchase deal, when does the agent actually get paid commission?
When the transaction closes.
That could be a
So
year.
that could be 6 months or a year.
Yeah, that's what I wondered.
Yeah, because there's no sale until it actually happens.
Right.
All you're doing is putting in somebody in a really good position to buy that.
Now, what you can potentially get paid for is the leasing of the house. So
A fee.
A fee.
Can you
And
negotiate that up front?
Yes.
That's what you'd have to do. You'd have to negotiate it up front because you couldn't tell them, hey, this is what I'm getting. You got to negotiate it up front and be able to collect that rent up for your rent payment up front or your compensation up front.
In the future, let me know. Sorry, I got to run. I got an appointment at 11. So
Thank you, Scott.
let me know if you guys have any questions. All right.
We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Would you do that at the time you had them sign a buyer's agency?
Yes, that's when you'd want to do it because you would know that they aren't ready to buy because if you got them pre-approved with the lender and the lender said, hey, they're not going to be able to buy for X amount of months, then, well, how about this? What if we do this? What if I find a place for you that we do a lease purchase? They agree, and then, but the lease agreement thing has to be with the seller. So you have to, because, or they agree, the buyer can agree that you get compensated and they are willing to pay you for finding them a rental house or a lease purchase. But it's going to be rare. Your best bet is to get that money from the seller. So you negotiate with the seller because the seller's paying you for selling the house, and if you get him a lease, a year or a 2-year lease, I mean, I know that if I owned a house that I wanted to sell and somebody brought me a lease purchase, I'd be willing to pay for the lease portion and then the sell portion when the sell portion occurred.
What would be a reasonable fee?
I would say a month's rent if it's a year's lease. If it's half a year lease, then a half a month's rent.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, anywhere the industry standards anywhere between a half and a full month.
Is there a lot of that going on right now?
Yes.
I mean, relatively speaking to other, I would think.
In our company, it's happened multiple times because we see all the files that come in, and then every time there's a lease, somebody calls me. Tori, you got a lease? And I have a lease for Kansas and Missouri. So if anybody ever wants a lease, I have one that I use when I lease my properties out.
Yep.
At risk of really making myself sound like the dumbest person that ever attended this.
Stop it.
Thank you. Is this that the buyer isn't qualified for a loan, and so by leasing they can establish more credit?
Right. So, sometimes there's
that they're a viable credit
There's
risk?
sometimes causes why people can't buy a house at a certain time. It could be their credit report is showing them their credit scores are a little low, and it's going to take them time to get them back up. That could be the reason. Could be saving money to be able to close on a loan. That could be a reason. It could be that the job that they're anticipating getting that will allow them to qualify, because I've had that happen before, where the person is in the Army National Guard or whatever, and they have this job coming up, but the job doesn't start until a certain time period, so they don't qualify for a loan until that job is in place. So there's all kinds of different reasons. People coming out of college, you know, they don't have a job right now, but they have one that's coming their way, but that's not going to start for 7 months, 8 months. Very common.
Divorce.
So divorce.
It's also common where, say we have a husband and wife and we split up, and now husband or wife gets kicked out. I'll let you guys pick which one. And they go. I don't know which one gets kicked out, but well, you never know. Every situation is different. But you know, say the husband gets kicked out. You all right? And he goes and he buys, or he enters into a lease purchase contract because he would not want to enter into a purchase contract and buy that while legally they're still married.
Right.
Because
then
she would have to sign for selling that property.
She would sign for selling it and obviously be entitled to half the proceeds. So it would be in his best interest to do a lease purchase, lease it until the divorce is final, and then purchase it on the back end. Or she would be in her best interest, if she left, to go lease a place until the divorce is final and then purchase. And if you find the home that you really like, it fits for the school, fits for the kids, whatever it is, that is the smart play. And if we're representing the buyer on that, that is something that we need to know as agents. How do we take care of our clients? That would be one way. If you're in a divorce situation, okay, when's the final? Okay, it's okay, and then we need to lease for at least that long, and then buy a month later after the ink is dry on divorce.
Okay, one more question. And this is really easy. People who have actually been foreclosed upon, are they ever going to qualify for buying a house again?
Yes, over a period of time.
About 7 years later.
Okay.
I think it's about 3.
It varies.
Is it about 3?
Are you serious?
Yes.
I didn't think it was that quick.
I think she's correct. I think it's 3-ish.
From a
could be a little bit longer.
Or from a bankruptcy.
Foreclosure, I believe.
Well, oftentimes when you're talking about a
You
foreclosure,
said bankruptcy 3 years.
Bankruptcy,
Yeah,
3 years.
Yeah,
A foreclosure, I thought was a little bit longer.
but often if it's
and
a
there's
foreclosure, it's a foreclosure and a bankruptcy.
But also, depending, if there's a lot of foreclosure in the area in which the foreclosure occurred, banks will look at it and say, if 60% of all the houses in that area got foreclosed on, then they're going to look at it and say, well, that's extenuating circumstances why that foreclosure occurred, and they may, if there's a lot of foreclosures in the area and the people move to another area and they have the income and they've got the job and all that kind of stuff, you know, some things are beyond people's control. I mean, it is beyond your control when your market drops by 50%. And the value of your house is not as much as your mortgage on it, and you put 20% down.
Or you've had a property manager in a condo situation who was a crook and skimmed money off the HOA. And believe me, I know of cases.
There's all kinds of cases all over the country
right here in this town,
where values have gone down, and the people can't sell what they have because you can't get a loan because people have filed suit against either a condo or a, you know, anytime there's a maintenance provided scenario. There's all kinds of situations that could occur that could prevent you from getting a loan or getting to sell your property to somebody who can get a loan. The only people you can sell to is cash. So, you know, there's all kinds of circumstances.
Well, this is a great, I mean, this is great to know because, I mean, as an agent, sure, we'd all rather get our commission today. But being able to get, to show a client homes and get a fee now and a commission check 6 months to a year from now beats the heck out of no income at all.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
And plus you're helping them. You're helping them solve a problem.
Exactly right.
You're getting them where they need to be. And if you help them, then, you know, they'll tell somebody. And, you know, again, you get by giving, you know, you help people and you get helped back.
The energy you send out into the world.
That's right.
Comes back.
It's all about that karma.
All right.
That's exactly.
All right. Thank you guys very much.
Great class.